Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You know, when you first become president, you're going to get tested, not just from the other party, not just from the electorate who put you in there. I want to see what you're going to do. You're going to really get tested outside of your country. That is what's happening right now. Right now, two countries, China and Russia, are pushing Biden. In a time where we've got inflation that is kicking everybody's ass, you've got the Omicron variant that is now sweeping the globe, supposedly. We're not quite sure what the hell this means at all, but still, coronavirus is here. Let's not pretend it isn't. You've got supply chain issues. You had a mess in Afghanistan, which doesn't play well for you. You've got an immigration problem that's a nightmare. And you're a year into this, and you look disheveled and a hot mess, and all of a sudden you look over, and you see hundreds, close to 200,000 Russians amassing themselves on the border of the Ukraine. And you're thinking, what? What is Biden going to do?
On the one hand, if he pushes too far and tries to do things, for example, support Ukraine militarily, that looks provocative and provides the Russians with an excuse for going to war. On the other hand, if he backs away, he looks like he hasn't stood by an important U.S. friend in a very dangerous situation.
What will he do? It's not just here, but China. China's issuing threats already over what may come these games that they're getting ready to host, and the fact that we may step away from that, at least diplomatically.
The Biden administration has not yet announced a diplomatic boycott of the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing, but the president said last month he was considering this move, meaning American athletes would attend, but no American government officials would. Still, China is firing back, saying the Olympics are, quote, not a stage for political shows and political manipulation, and calling diplomatic boycotts, quote, completely selfish and sensational. The Biden administration is facing pressure from Republicans and Democrats to snub China for its record on human rights.
You think? So you've got China, who's pushing. You've got Russia that's pushing. You've got Iran that is pushing. And this isn't even counting what's going on here in this nation. He has got a lot of issues right now. And let me tell you something. For all of you who want the president to fail, realizing failing in the Ukraine if Russia does something, failing in Taiwan and the South Asia Sea if China does something, is not just a failure for the Biden administration, it is a failure across the board. What is he going to do? I don't know. First things first, they're going to look and say, well, how about we do something when it comes to economics, right? That's always the big thing. Squeeze them economically.
What President Biden is trying to do is dissuade Russia's President Putin from going to war by saying that there could be serious economic consequences, and you never know what happens once the bullets start flying.
Which is very true. Right now, NATO last week, Blinken and everybody else that was out there, everybody involved with NATO is like, everybody needs to pay attention to what is going on. Everybody needs to pay attention to what is happening here. While you're fighting over whether or not to wear a mask or to not wear a mask, is this new thing the worst thing that's ever been out there? No, what all of this is going on, other parts of the globe are pushing buttons. And this is where leadership needs to be actual leadership. They know. What are we paying attention to? We're paying attention to things that matter right here at home. Omicron, right? The boost fight. Should you get a boost? Should you not get a boost? And of course, the magic that is the continuing rising of prices here in the United States of America.
look at what happened in Virginia and some polling that showed that Democrats are losing really badly on economic issues and that a lot of Americans care more about economic issues versus social issues. How do you think the White House can do better?
No, you know what, Sherlock? The American people care about COVID, getting it under control, and they care about the economy. I can tell you that's what they care the most about, anecdotally. What I think we have an opportunity to do now is be quite bold about the choice that people across the country have.
Always playing politics. There are other things out there that they're counting on being able to take advantage of because they're thinking, hey, we're not paying attention. And we're not. China's going to play this game, and they're going to play it harder than anybody else. They have a real plan in the growth of what they think is the future, which is a communistic world. That is their real plan. They've had it. If you go back and you look, it's not hard to look up China 2025, right? Their 50-year plan that they're rolling out. There is a plan that they have. Russia, their pals, they love to push, and they don't think this guy has the cojones to do anything. We're still fighting COVID. Look, Mr. President, it's not got any better. Now we got the Omicron. What the hell is that? Is that even going anywhere? How bad is it? I don't know. Last week, people were panicking as if it was the second coming of the Ebola virus.
Put the new Omicron variant in perspective.
We have about 90,000 new cases a day here in the United States. 99.9% of them still are the Delta variant.
But are there some assumptions you can now make about Omicron in terms of its potential to do greater harm?
You know, we haven't yet seen any symptoms that are unique to Omicron. The symptoms that are presenting are the very similar symptoms that we have seen with Delta. Again, still too early to tell in terms of whether increased severity associated with Omicron compared to Delta.
Translation. We don't have an idea. We have no idea what this thing's going to look like. Zero. Zilch. Why? It's only been a couple of weeks. We don't know. What we did know is we panicked. We shut down everything as fast as possible. Right? We just shut it down like that. It's already around the globe. We've stopped flying in and out of Africa, South Africa. We did it based on the fact that they alerted us to it, but now we're finding out the chances are it could have started in Europe or somewhere else, but it still doesn't matter. That's what happens when you have a reactionary way of without stepping back and going, all right, what is this thing really like? Let's get some information. Instead, it's let's panic and do something about this thing now, not knowing anything about it, where it even came from.
So the U.S. has banned non-citizen travel from 8 African countries, including South Africa, but not from the roughly 36 other countries that have Omicron cases. The head of the United Nations slammed bans such as these as, quote, travel apartheid. Given that Omicron is here in 15 states, do you think it's time to lift the bans on travel from South African countries?
So when the ban was put on, it was put to give us time to figure out just what is going on. Hopefully we'll be able to lift that ban within a quite reasonable period of time.
Hopefully we will. It's a joke. But that's what government has become anymore. Reactionary, not forward thinking. Weak instead of strong. More of a panic mentality. Because it's not that they're panicked. It's that panic pays well. When we should be paying attention to some stuff that's going on around the globe that's very real. Not that Omicron, we don't absolutely deal with the coronavirus the way that we should deal with it. You make sure that there's enough vaccines / shots for everybody. Tell people, look, if you're unfamiliar with the area that you're going, and there's going to be a lot of people in there, and you've got comorbidities, maybe you stay out of there. Common sense, little things like that across the globe that they don't use, we need to use more of it. Higher prices, a holiday season that seems to be flagging, if you will. It's not really doing the thing it's supposed to be doing, which is giving people confidence heading to New Year. Inflation, an immigration problem that's a nightmare. We'll touch on that in a little bit. I mean, there's a lot. Supply chain, you name it. People are taking advantage of it. And if you're the president, this is where leadership shows up. You can hide when you're campaigning, but when you get the job, you cannot hide. If you want to be a leader, this is the time. We were told it was going to get better. Things don't feel better. We were told that, hey, guess what? Once he takes over, hey, you watch what happens. This thing's going to disappear and he's going to No. We've had more access. We've had more deaths. We've got other people who are around the globe going, you know what? The guy that he was vice president, when he was vice president, the guy that was president, he drew red lines on one of our buddies, old Assad there, and they did nothing. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can take advantage of stuff. We'll see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet. That's a lot of stuff to get to. Michigan parents arrested. My goodness me. The more you read, the more you hear, what the hell? First of all, they're clowns. And they knew something was wrong. The school knew something was wrong and did virtually nothing outside of some meetings. I think everybody should be charged in this case. Touch on that. We lost an American hero. We hear that word hero tossed around a lot. We'll talk about that as well. Calibrate. You know, over half American adults, young adults, 18 to 25, are overweight. 56%. Why is that? Well, for some of them, it's just a new, different world that they're living in, right? And maybe they do overeat. For some of them, though, what they're starting to realize is a lot of it's just your metabolic life. It's not what it should be. You need a jump start. That's where Calibrate comes in. Calibrate's different. It's a comprehensive doctor-guided metabolic reset, promotes sustainable results through lifestyle changes. So big, crazy diets, right, where you go like, I'm going to only eat a shred of lettuce every 3 days and drink water upside down, and then you lose all that weight, but it's not sustainable and it's not good for you. Calibrate is. Calibrate works because they combine doctor-prescribed, FDA-approved medication paired with lifestyle change to improve your metabolic health, right? So it's not always just about willpower. The health side of it, when it comes to the way that our bodies are reacting to things differently, it's about jumpstarting that and bringing that back and resetting it. And it works. Earliest members who have been part of this for Calibrate lost 14% of their body weight on average, exceeding the 10%. And it's so easy. Even if your schedule is really busy, let me tell you something. They've got an app. You can do it the way that you want to do it, the work on it, the way that makes you feel most comfortable. Your goals will be personalized and tracked by doctors and coaches. You get one-on-one video coaching combined with in-app tracking, community members. It's just awesome. Plus medical care, including a visit to the doctor. So what are you waiting for? Your weight doesn't reflect your willpower. Get back in control with Calibrate. $50 off the one-year metabolic reset with promo code CHAD at joincalibrate.com. That's 50%. That's $50 off. $50 off when you use code CHAD at joincalibrate.com. Joincalibrate.com. Make sure you use code CHAD. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Tell you what, these parents of Ethan Crumbley are losers themselves. I think that's evident. They were arrested over, late Friday into Saturday morning. It is originally when this all went down. Apparently, they told their attorney, look, we need to get out of here because, we're going to get some death threats. We might be getting some, which is completely understandable. Let's be real. Even if they were completely above board, people are still going to also say and do horrible things. That is understandable.
Before charges had even been announced, the Crumbleys asked for a safe place to stay to avoid death threats and hostility that was surrounding their home. And they asked if they could stay at his downtown location where he already was. And he said that was fine. And that's how they ended up there in the morning.
Yeah. And they were staying there. The guy, they're not going to file any charges. Apparently, this guy had no idea what was going on. 65. He'd kind of known them as an ancillary friend, if you will, somebody who's somebody who's just a peripheral friend, if you will, right? Like not super friend, know them. But if you go back, Let me tell you something. Not only these parents who are absolute buffoons. He wasn't old enough to own the gun. The gun was his dad's name. His dad apparently called 911, said his gun was missing. Half an hour after the shooting, his mother had texted, "Don't do it." Maybe that she thought he was going to kill himself. Some of the writings they had found from this kid of him with his new gun shooting classmates, talking about how basically the world means nothing to him and the voices and he needs help. How was this kid in school at all? How was he there at all? Probably had the gun with him the day of it. And guess what? According to the FBI, 63 active shooters who opened fire between 2000 and 2013 and all displayed worrisome behaviors, often expressed a desire to commit violence. In most cases, people who saw their behaviors responded by talking to the person directly or doing nothing. That's what the study found. This was not one of those situations. This was a situation where they were trying to get him into therapy. They said he had to be in therapy in the next 24 to 48 hours. Why was he not suspended? Remember Parkland? Apparently a 17-year-old was arrested last week threatening to shoot the school up. They suspended him for 10 days with expulsion essentially recommended, but he's in a juvenile detention center at this point in time. That's how you handle. This kid had problems that everybody could see. Even if he was not a threat to other people, you could easily have argued he was a threat to himself. But as it turned out, he was a threat to other people. The school knew about it. His parents knew he was a hot mess. And they've been charged, rightly so. Rightly so. How this happened and the amount of time it took for them over and over to continue to give this kid a chance and to keep him in there without saying he needs to be gone from here immediately. Beyond me. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. We lost an American hero. I don't say that kind of, loosely, like so many that word's tossed around. He was an American hero. We just discussed it straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
He was a war hero. I say the word hero because, again, hero gets tossed around all the time. But he was a war hero. He was decorated. He was paralyzed on the right side and the left side of his. I got mobility back in his left arm later after years of hard work and therapy, surgeries. Served this country for 79 years, both in the military and then throughout Senate. Ran for president 3 times, lost to Clinton in 96, poorly, beaten down. Bob Dole passed away over the weekend. Lived a great life, 98 years, man. You got to say, hey, if somebody tells you lived 98 years, do the things he did, the way he did, I think a lot of people say, I'd check that off. And he was very interesting, very funny. Didn't take himself as serious as so many politicians do nowadays. Right after losing to Clinton, he was on with David Letterman.
Welcome back to the Late Show.
Thank you.
Bob, what have you been doing lately?
Apparently not enough. But I said congratulations, Mr. President. You won. It wasn't close. We both worked very hard. And I said, let's get together and talk about it. Not talk about it, but talk about America sometime. My slogan was a better man for a better America, but I'm going to head for Florida. My slogan's going to be a better tan for a better America.
It was very interesting, the way that people have talked about Bob Dole on both sides of the aisle. Came from a different time, a time when you know what? It was what was best for America. There wasn't social media. It was what was best for the country. Those are differing things nowadays. Nowadays, it's what's best for me, the party, and whatever's left over, the people, but only the people who voted for us. We'll pretend like it's all of the people, but at the end of the day, it's really only the people that voted for us. He came from a time when bipartisanship wasn't a bad word. He came from a time and a day and age when, guess what? You actually didn't have to use a CR because you got a budget done, meaning you didn't get everything you wanted. He came from a much different day and age. You know, after 96, right after he had lost, the next year, Clinton awarded him with the biggest thing that you can give a citizen, you know? So here he is. He gets this huge, huge, huge award. And he joked about, he thought that day, I thought I was going to get the key to the White House. So he got the Presidential Citizens Medal by Ronald Reagan, the Medal of Freedom by Clinton, right? He'd won the Jefferson Awards, the Defense Awards. He'd won so many awards on top of the awards he won when he was in the military. This guy was a hero. And when you say, who are they? Who are the people that when you look at and say are heroes? Nowadays, people run to be in politics from the day they're in high school. They say, I want to go into politics. They get into college. They find out, they turn it into a career. These were people back in the day that actually, well, you know what? It was something that they felt they had to do. They were called to it. And again, didn't take himself too seriously. We lost Norm Macdonald earlier this year. He played Bob Dole on Saturday Night Live.
You're really doing an impression of Dan Aykroyd when he does an impression of me. You know it, and I know it, and the American people know it.
Come on now, Senator. It's a great impression. Listen to this. Come November 5th, a lot of people are going to be surprised by Bob Dole because Bob Dole's going to win this election.
Doesn't sound a thing like me. First of all, I don't run around saying Bob Dole does this and Bob Dole does that. That's not something Bob Dole does.
He was another one of those throwbacks to an iconic era of people who sacrificed for the greater good of the country rather than enjoyed all the power that comes with being in politics. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text said program. Love it when you do. So here we are. People don't trust the media. Over the weekend, it started to break that something had happened. One of the most untrustworthy media people was finally let go.
CNN breaking news.
Chris Cuomo, we should point out, has now been terminated here at CNN. That's the latest breaking news. Earlier this week, Cuomo was suspended from CNN after documents revealed he had been involved more than previously known in shaping his brother, former Governor Andrew Cuomo's defense. And I want to go to CNN's Brian Stelter.
Yes, Chris Cuomo, one of the most popular anchors at CNN, violated journalistic ethics and norms, not once or twice, but many times.
Well, first of all, when you call somebody an anchor, you make him a journalist. Was he a journalist? Well, I think that CNN has lost any accountability whatsoever. He had protection with inside of CNN, and Zucker protected him, but you've got new people getting ready to take it over. They want to go in a much different direction. They want to try to bring some journalism and some objectivity back to it. And he wasn't just the most popular one of the he was the biggest show you had, albeit it sucked and nobody watched comparatively to all the other things that were out there. But then they started talking about, well, you know, look at the things that he did and you know, and the standards and practices. And let's just remember, he helped his brother out. Did anybody really think he was going to be objective? I blame CNN as much as anybody else. And the reason's simple. You should never have allowed him to cover his brother. Doesn't mean that he wasn't going to help his brother still, because that's family.
Additional information has come to light. Despite the termination, we will investigate as appropriate. He was put on the bench indefinitely while management conducted a review. What we didn't know until tonight, Jim, is that an outside law firm also came in and that the law firm went through the thousands of pages of text messages and sworn testimony that was released back on Monday. So there was clearly something in those documents that was found to be a serious breach of standards and practices.
Yeah, so now they're looking at, did he hashtag me to it, if you will? Don't know. Those are things that are going to be looked at, you know. But now you've got, of course, the other side of it, his side.
A spokesperson for Chris Cuomo saying in a statement, if the goal in making these false and unvetted accusations was to see Mr. Cuomo punished by CNN, that may explain his unwarranted termination.
Yeah. I said last week, and I'll continue to, so here's the reality of it. He's your brother. You're probably going to help your brother. You're probably going to help your brother, especially if you don't have a disdain for your brother. A hatred. But even then, it's blood. CNN should never have allowed it. But you have something here, which is, as attorney David Zerwick talks about, the fact is, this is why so many people don't buy into the press anymore.
CNN has lost trust. I think this really goes to the heart. Sarah's right. These relationships are out there. People know about them. And it is one of the things that makes people, they don't trust the press because they think it's elites dealing with elites, taking care of elites. We say we're watchdogs, but we watch some people harder than we watch other people. There are friends, there are relationships, there are people trying to court favor with powerful people for information.
Yeah, totally. 110%. You've got the muckety-mucks in D.C., right, who live in a world of Beltway, and they think that everybody should think the exact same way that they do, right? They're all educated, mostly Ivy League, or as they call them, you know, you've got several other colleges out there that they joke about, like being public Ivies, where they're not Ivy League, but they're as close as you're going to get to it. And they live in this world where they hang out with each other. They befriend each other. One of the reasons I don't have politicians on the show is you can't be critical of people you become friends with. You can, but it makes it tough. You can, but it makes you tough to do it because they're expecting you not to. And for a lot of these people, too, they've allowed the activist side of it. It's more important is the messaging, not the situation in and around it. And remember, they loved him, and he loved his brother, and he was on all the time.
Obviously, I love you as a brother. Obviously, I'll never be objective. Obviously, I think you're the best politician in the country.
You've always been good at manipulation. You've always been the meatball of the family.
I've seen you referred to a little bit recently as the love gov, and I'm wondering if that's bleeding into your demeanor at all, making you a little soft on the president.
I called Mom just before I came on this show.
It's not what
By
she
the
said.
way, she said I was her favorite.
She never said
Good
that.
news is she said you were her second favorite.
It'll never be seen as fair in people's eyes, and we both get that, and that's okay. This is the truth the way you see it. He's my big brother. I love him. Of course I'm not objective.
Yeah, that's one thing. But let's not forget the fact that there was all of the other media that slobbered on him, right? Governor Cuomo, right? The Cuomo sexual, all of this stuff, because there are people out there in the media who live, again, in this bubble. That was the issue. They brought Barry Weiss into the New York Times because they wanted to go after Trump won. Well, why doesn't the rest of America think like we do here in Manhattan or D.C. or Los Angeles or San Francisco and Chicago? Why can't we figure out why these people have their own minds and they do things that we, why is that? So they bring her in. They don't let her go out and really do anything as far as taking a look and printing stuff because they all think it should be a certain way. And there's a reason why people don't trust them. Even people on the left now are finding it harder and harder to trust the media, and it's not just Fox News.
We've really lost sense of media ethics in our profession, especially in the last few years. You have to ask yourself first, and this is the mistake that Chris Cuomo made, and in some sense I think CNN made this same mistake in not forcing him to ask this. Who do you work for? Who do you serve? Obviously you serve and you work for your employer or you don't get a check. But beyond that, who are you talking to? You should be serving the public. That oftentimes puts you at odds with people in power.
Yeah. Very much so. And that's the point of having a free and open press, because they can push back. Nowadays, what is it about? Comedy, tends to be the freer and open world of expression that pushes back on the powers that be. Even last week, we touched on the fact that Trevor Noah talked about, hey, you know what, guy that's running Moderna, maybe you're not the most objective person when it comes to this new Omicron variant, that you should be making certain judgments on it, already saying that your stuff doesn't work and now that you need more stuff because, well, you plan to profit from it. So isn't that kind of the goal? Is that your stuff kind of doesn't work for this new one so you can make another one? I'm just saying. People went after him. People went after him. Nobody trusts the media because, well, it's the media. And I'm not talking really about the media as in the sense of people on YouTube and stuff like that. People that are supposed to be journalists, they're no longer journalists. They are the media, and they're as much activists, but most importantly, they're business people. And they're serving a public. And it's just as much our fault for allowing it to happen over and over again. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Omaha steaks, baby. I don't even know if I have anything left from my box. So we've barbecued just about everything. It started with the amazing gourmet jumbo franks. The steak burgers, I think we have a few of those left. The potatoes, the scalloped potatoes, gone. Caramel apple tartlets, gone. Right? The bacon wrapped fillets, the most incredible things, gone. I think we have a few chicken breasts left, but everything else is gone. And right now, for under $100, they've never done this before. They're doing something that's amazing. It is perfect for your stomach for this Christmas season. It's perfect for a loved one who loves to barbecue. It is Omaha Steaks giving you the perfect gift package. For $99.99, you get all 24 entrees and 8 free burgers when you use Chad at omahasteaks.com. You go there, the top of the bar, boom, type in Chad. And I'm telling you what, it is incredible. The best gift around. It's the gift that keeps on giving over and over. Incredible flavor, the value, 100% guaranteed. And with all of the prices going up, Omaha Steaks, because of the way they do things, they're bringing the prices down. Take advantage of it now. Go to omahasteaks.com, enter Chad into the search bar to get the perfect gift package today and get free 8 Omaha Steak burgers. Free! But you got to use code Chad. omahasteaks.com. Use code Chad for the perfect gift package. omahasteaks.com. Keyword Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Hashtag me too. Hashtag immigration reforms. Hashtag help. I'm trapped in a hashtag factory and I can't get out. The Chad Benson Show.
I will save the magic.
Disney's Encanto topped the box office for a second weekend, earning another $12.7 million. That's a better than 50% drop-off from last weekend's debut, but not out of place for the typically slow weekend after Thanksgiving box office. It's also enough to push Encanto's global take to over $116 million.
Her grandfather was a Ghostbuster.
It was a pretty good weekend for Ghostbusters Afterlife as well. It held on to second place and just crossed the $100 million mark domestically in 3 weeks of release.
Yeah. What do you got coming up, though, in the next couple weeks? Well, this weekend, you're going to have West Side Story, which don't care to even watch. Sorry. Just don't do musicals. It's never been my thing. But the 17th, Spider-Man No Way Home. That will probably be big. Matrix Resurrections, Sing 2, The Kingsman, all coming out on the 22nd. And then American Underdog and A Journal for Jordan on December 25th. There's nothing. And quite frankly, there's more than enough on television and on the streaming services. And the other side of things is the expense. I read last week that, are they a dying thing? I don't think the movie industry is a dying thing. I think they need to redo the way that they're doing movies and presenting them to the people. And one of them is they're going to have surge pricing. Right? So you go see a concert. You're going to pay different prices for different things. Some movies are worth $5. Some movies are worth 20. And yeah, they've got matinees and certain things like that, but there is going to be some certain things that they're going to have to do to put butts in the seats. And this isn't working the way it used to. Some of it is the pandemic. There's no doubt about that. Not all, but some. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. NFL picks. How'd I do? NFL picks. You got Dallas right. Got the Colts right. The Vikings. You let them win. Goff led them to a win. They're 10-1 now because of you. This is their first game they'd won in almost 365 days. Detroit wins. Dolphins, Bucks, Eagles, Cards, all wins. Bengals got boat race. Rams won. Raiders lost to some Washington team I've never heard of. Ravens went for 2 and lost. 49ers lost. Chiefs won. And tonight, the Bills, I've got them over the Patriots. All in all, not bad. Not great, but not bad. Got to do better. Got to do better. And the playoffs, college football playoffs. Michigan and Georgia will battle it out in 1. Alabama and Cincinnati. The American Cup, 13-0. The Natty gets what they've wanted. They get to be in the college football playoffs, and their reward for going 13-0 is to face Alabama, who took care of business against Georgia and absolutely laid the wood to them behind said woodshed. So in the conference championship game in the SEC. So this should be interesting. See how Michigan does and see how Natty does. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Mom and dad in jail. Oxford High School, Oakland County, reeling from what took place last week. People are looking at the parents, right? Hey, you guys, what the hell were you thinking? So the Crumleys have been arrested over the weekend. Their son was a hot mess. Everybody knew it. And it wasn't just the parents.
They're going to try to say that they had no idea this type of event would happen. But the prosecution has the fact that he is literally crying for help. They should have known that he needed some assistance.
Yeah, you think? You think? My goodness. The stuff that he had written, the things that he had posted. You would have thought somebody would have gone, hey, you know what? Maybe it's best that he doesn't come back to school. Maybe it's best that he doesn't come back here and that he gets the help that he needs. Maybe it's best that that happens. There was videos of him playing games, Call of Duty, stuff like that, shooting hoops with his friends. His half-brother, by the way, who just left, who was living there, went back to live with his mother, said that, you know what, he seemed like a happy, average kid, right? Who loved the game Minecraft and wanted to be an archaeologist. They moved from Florida to Michigan together. So he goes, I knew he was a smart boy who seemed to be just an average kid. It's hard to believe. There was nothing that ever stood out to me. He never gets suspended from school, gets attention. This is his older half-brother, Eli, adding that he had no idea about his motive. No idea. Some people did because the school had issues with him. There was a drawing, right? So he had sketched out something of a Glock, him shooting kids, a cry for help, right? It's not just the parents that I think are somewhat culpable here. It's the continuation of poor school decision-making. You had kids who had essentially said some stuff in the coming weeks that they were worried about something potentially happening. You had kids who had had kind of said some things to teachers, not just about the social media, but the kid in general. You had parents that did nothing. And again, he wasn't old enough to own a gun. They might have bought him a gun, but it was registered his dad's name. So all of these red flags, like, you could not get more red flaggy than this thing got. You could not get more than they got. But the school did nothing when I think they had a chance. Over the weekend, I guess, at Parkland, high school student was arrested, threatening to do something similar, and they did not hesitate. They arrested him. He's 17. Oliver Mankin. Right? He goes, I feel like school shooting tomorrow. And that was it. That was it. He also said, when I sneeze, it's a signal, go to the bathroom, okay? Hope you're all snitches. He texted his pals. He made the threat in a chat room, which I was surprised still exists. So, his mom, of course, is joking. So that's all it was. It was just a joke. He's a normal kid, normal family, safe environment. He doesn't realize the words that he said were not so safe. He wanted to show off amongst his friends. It's not an excuse for behavior. It's just an explanation, says his mother. He's in juvie for 10 days. They recommend suspension. He's suspended for 10 days as well, and they recommend expulsion. Can't do that. This kid hit all of the signs. Nothing. All of the signs. Nothing. Period. Nothing. All of the signs. Nothing.
They're going to try to say that they had no idea this type of event would happen, but the prosecution has the fact that he...
Yeah, no idea. No idea. You could know. Like, everybody has somebody at work, right? I mean, you work somewhere. You got somebody at work. You joke around. You're like, dude, if anybody's going to be a shooter, it's that guy. Right? If anybody's going to be the shooter, it's him. We'll see. They arrested them, though. Caught them. And I don't know what it was, like an art gallery or something like that. The person, they said originally he was an artist, said there was, there's going to be no charges because apparently he didn't really know what was going on. He knew them, right? And yeah, you can stay here, I guess. But they're all in jail.
James and Jennifer Crumbly and their 15-year-old son waking up in the Oakland County, Michigan jail. All of them accused of having a hand in the Oxford High School massacre that left 4 students dead.
They're saying, we weren't evading, right? We weren't evading. We got out of town because we were worried.
Before charges had even been announced, the Crumbleys asked for a safe place to stay to avoid death threats and hostility that was surrounding their home. And they asked if they could stay at his downtown location where he already was. And he said that was fine. And that's how they ended up there in the morning.
Yeah. They weren't evading. That's how they ended up there. They were worried. And that's understandable. Let's be real. Online, lunatics, psychopaths, trolls, you could feel like something could potentially go sideways. That is real. At the end of the day, they got him. They're facing real charges. They didn't take their son seriously. Apparently, the dad reported the gun missing, called 911, and the mother texted about a half an hour after the shootings had been done and says, don't do it. So I believe they're all going to jail for quite a while. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. But it also goes to show you something, and that something is simply this. The red flags are great, right? Because that's supposed to tip us off. If you don't act on the red flags, and I know there's this want to always give people a sense of oh, they didn't do anything wrong or whatever it is. But it's about common sense. Common sense says after you've had your second or third meeting about this, you found him, scrolling, looking for ammunition, the drawings, and the teachers are raised serious, like serious allegations against this kid and what they thought he was going to do, and some serious issues against him and what they thought might happen. And you send him back to school, and less than 90 minutes later, he shoots up the school. He had the gun with him, and their only thought is he needs to get help. You need to put him into some sort of program to help him psychologically. Could you do that in the next 24 to 48 hours? You should have done it in the next 24 seconds. You should have done it months ago. And if you don't know what's going on with your kid, and you don't have an understanding of this, does it happen? I'm sure it does. Once in a great while, you might find somebody that on the surface has played everybody's. They've played everybody on the surface. And it may not be a shooting. It may be suicidal thoughts, whatever it is, where you would never, ever, 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 ever know. But when you go and look, and the FBI did a study from 2000 to 2013, they looked at like 63 different shootings. Red flags were available everywhere, and nobody follows them. Nobody does. And that's the thing. It's like, wow. Some schools, yeah, maybe they're quick to overreact. But this school, this district, and these parents, I mean, if my son was, showing any of this behavior, my common sense says he needs to get help. I don't know about you guys. I know what you think. Maybe I'm wrong. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Mayor de Blasio is at it again because, we got to fight this coronavirus. And now the new thing, instead of public employees, how about private?
As of today, we're going to announce a first-in-the-nation measure. Our health commissioner will announce a vaccine mandate, for private sector employers across the board.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. What's it mean? Here we go. Now we've got Omicron that's here, and, of course, they're all excited about that. Well, they're not. No, they kind of are. It's more power. They can continue to keep everything in place. I don't care what anybody says. It's the game that they play, and they're enjoying it. And people don't want to admit it because they don't want to say, that, oh, maybe there is something to that. The reality is little power corrupts, and you watch what happens when smaller groups of bureaucrats have power they've never had before. The Atlantic pointed it out long ago. The hardest thing to do is to get back the power that so many have surrendered. And now here comes more. Here comes more. We don't even know what this thing does, but here comes more mandates. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. My Pillow, there is zero. I said it's zero issues when it comes to supply chain. Right now, you have a chance to jump on it. The My Pillow is at its lowest price ever. Sheets, slippers, robes, cardigans, all in stock, ready to ship fast. My Pillow is your one-stop shop for everybody on your list, and you shop with confidence. Because you know what? You're going to get your gifts with no issues. All My Pillow products come with a 60 money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. So all you have to do right now to take advantage is go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener special for specials like 40% off all my slippers, 50% off My Pillow mattress topper, which is my favorite of all the things out there. I love the mattress topper. I think it is incredible. What you have to do is enter code Benson or call 800-983-4975 for these great My Pillow specials. That's 800-983-4975. Use promo code Benson at checkout. Now, limited time, Do this. Jump all over this. Give the gift, the ultimate gift and comfort with the best deals of the year at MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson to save big. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
One of these boys, give me a bowl of chili with plenty of peppers. One Mexican heartburn. Why don't you mugs grow up?
The Chad Benson Show, where independent, a la carte thinkers have a seat at the table and a voice in the dialogue.
I'll have what she's having.
This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old intranet. What's trending? Let's take a peek, find out what's trending on the old interwebs. Head on over to the magical world of the argument that is Twitter. There's always stuff trending there. People love to fight. So what they love to do is fight, fight, fight. You sit there and you're like, what are you fighting about? My goodness me. You've got de Blasio, Cuomo. Comey's trending as well in the political world. Former president tells Fox News he might not have survived his presidency had he not fired then FBI Director James Comey in 2017. I'm like, huh? Political coverage of Biden was 3 times as negative as it is overall coverage in November, according to Politico. Now, is that actually coverage of Biden, or is that coverage of what's happening? I think you need to distinguish the two, right? If inflation is up, that's not negative coverage, that's just coverage. If immigration's a hot mess, that's not negative coverage, that's just coverage. That's where journalism comes in. Beijing! President's going to announce the U.S. will diplomatically boycott the Beijing Olympics, the Winter Olympics. Head on over to Google. Bob Dole passed away yesterday, former Republican presidential nominee, ran for president 3 times, lost to Clinton, 96, World War II hero, passed away, 98 years old. Lots of NFL, tons of it, including the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, who hadn't won a game since, I think, last year. It's been a while. They're awful. They won yesterday because apparently Minnesota doesn't like to cover people 5 yards in the end zone. Oh, yeah, that's kind of, it was so funny to watch some of it. I was just like, well, they're just going to let him go down there, huh? Nobody's going to stop him? Nobody at all? Like, nobody's going to try? Nope, just let him go. There they go. Just walked on down and scored. Chargers, Bengals, Bears lose, Seahawks, lots of that stuff. But those Detroit Lions, and you would have thought they won it all yesterday. Man, I tell you what, the excitement was crazy. Just watching them run around, it was nuts. It looked like they'd won they'd won it all. And it's totally understandable. You haven't won a game in like a year. Even with this win, you have won one game. Even with this win, you've won a singular game. That's it.
First victory of the year on the line. Goff's got it. Back, looks, throws, end zone. Yes! Caught! Touchdown, Detroit Lions! They did it! Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end! Oh, they're rushing the field! They've done it! 3 zeros on the clock! This game is over! It's over!
323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show for Twitter. Like they win the Super Bowl? Nope, they won their first game. Ever? Close to it. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
What's going on? Well, let's talk about it. We've got the parents arrested here. Omicron is apparently super dangerous, maybe dangerous. We're not quite. Holiday shopping is amongst us, as we already know. Then you've got other things from around the world. Things like, well, we're not going to be sending, it looks like, diplomats to China for the Beijing Winter Olympics. China is trying to strengthen itself and push. There are things that happen around the globe. I don't think you guys realize this. And the other thing is what's going on in the Ukraine. And I don't know if you're paying any attention to this, but it's getting scary over there. And the scenes on the border, well, a little tense.
We're in one of the towns on the front line with the Russian-backed rebel east of Ukraine. And although there's supposed to be a peace agreement, there's regular shelling. We've been hearing the sound of small arms fired by both sides. And today, as many as 100,000 Russian combat troops are thought to be massed on that eastern border. The U.S. fears they could be preparing for a full-scale military assault.
What will we do? It's a fair question to ask. What will we do? What will this administration do? So Russia is pushing the envelope. You get tested as a leader. You get very few moments to take a deep breath as a leader, even if you get him here. Right? Trump never got any of that. But every president is going to get tested. They want to see what you're going to do. Do you have the cojones to do something? Will you push back? Usually it's sanctions. But what if? Right now, there's 100,000+, say it again, 100,000+ troops sitting on the border of the Ukraine. Remember Crimea? You guys remember that? Who was president? Oh, yeah, that guy. The president now, he was the vice president then. What will take place if they go across and decide we're going to fight? What does this president do?
On the one hand, if he pushes too far and tries to do things, for example, support Ukraine militarily, that looks provocative and provides the Russians with an excuse for going to war. On the other hand, if he backs away, he looks like he hasn't stood by an important U.S. friend in a very dangerous situation.
Yeah. I think it's a very interesting thing. And as a president, this is when you have to make a decision. Both the EU and NATO believe Russia is preparing to invade the Ukraine. Putin's demand legal guarantees against NATO expansion, apparently a couple days ago in the Ukraine. He's pissed about that. Okay. NATO's not going anywhere. Just to let you know.
He basically is worried that Ukraine is turning into a NATO aircraft carrier parked off the shore of southern Russia. He doesn't like it, and he wants to basically push NATO as far back from Russia's borders as possible.
So for those of you guys who don't know, NATO essentially is storing our stuff there. We're keeping some goodies there, if you will. We're keeping stuff there. And originally, the reason we had NATO was the fear of the great reach of the Soviets at the time. Remember what, though, Ukraine did? They handed over their nuclear weapons, and since then, they've been pushed around. NATO feels like we can't give in, but we don't want to cause any more hell. But we feel like he's going to invade. Is he willing to push the envelope to that point? I don't know. But this is where, as a leader, the President of the United States, people are looking at you. Then you go to the other side, the Chinese. The Chinese are pissed because we're not going to be sending anybody over there to hang out at their winter game charade. But they're stretching their legs and might in the South Chinese Sea. I don't know if they're going to invade Taiwan, but don't think it's not been thought of. It's gotten to the point now where we are over there in a small group, advising them on the things that you need. Stop looking at the most important, quote unquote, expensive things inside of the catalog of stuff you guys need. If they were ever to invade, you need to turn this into nasty guerrilla warfare. Make it so it's untenable and that they don't want to be here. That's what we're telling them. These are big issues. And then you've got coronavirus. Still not gone anywhere. Still right here. Earlier today, de Blasio, useless. That's being kind. Comes out and says,
as of today, we're going to announce a first-in-the-nation measure. Our health commissioner will announce a vaccine mandate for private sector employers across the board. All private sector employers in New York City will be covered by this vaccine mandate as of December 27th. We're going to have some other measures as well to really focus on maximizing vaccination quickly so we can get ahead of Omicron and all the other challenges we're facing right now.
Useless. We don't even know about Omicron, by the way. That's the other side of things. Dr. Walensky, they asked her about Omicron. Hey, just out of curious, Omicron, worse? About average? Do we know anything?
Put the new Omicron variant in perspective.
We have about 90,000 new cases a day here in the United States. 99.9% of them still are the Delta variant.
But are there some assumptions you can now make about Omicron in terms of its potential to do greater harm?
You know, we haven't yet seen any symptoms that are unique to Omicron. The symptoms that are presenting are the very similar symptoms that we have seen with Delta. Again, still too early to tell in terms of whether increased severity associated with Omicron compared to Delta.
Ooh. We don't know. But as the president, you're dealing with all of this stuff, and that's what you signed up for. You can hide when you're running. You cannot hide when the job is yours. And the job is yours. You've got to deal with things. And I don't know if he's doing it well, to be honest with you. I mean, he's not dealing with things well. I think we know that. But I don't even know if he's dealing with things in general at all. It feels like he's just kind of floating around. Very little from him day by day. Jen Psaki's out there mostly spinning yarns of insanity and stupidity that nobody believes at this point in time. And with China pushing, with the Russians pushing, Omicron, horrible situation with inflation. Immigration that's a nightmare. Afghanistan, which, by the way, is so broke, it's a joke. Ugh. What to do? And you can't even get your bills through. You can't get your bills passed. By the way, do you remember the Trump's tax cuts? We're going to touch on those in a minute when we talk about the insanity of reporting. But yeah, he can't even get his bills through because they're fighting over stuff all day. What about this bill? What about that bill? What about this? Can we do this? Can we do that?
If your question is, will Build Back Better be brought before the Senate? I think only Joe Manchin knows the answer to that, and perhaps Senator Sinema. This is a bad bill, bad social policy, bad economic policy. Trillions of dollars of new spending, new taxes, new debt, new welfare programs. The only way I know how to improve it is with a shredder.
I love him. Inflation up. Will this help?
A new welfare program for illegal immigrants. Amnesty for illegal immigrants, federal takeover of early childhood education. It's going to fuel inflation. When a Hot Pocket costs you $10, remember, we're building back better.
Some of those you could debate. A lot of that with the immigration. There's some real stuff in there about immigration that we need to talk about. We're going to discuss that because the stay in Mexico, I guess, Trump's stay in Mexico order goes back in effect today, but the way they're doing it is very haphazard. We're going to try it inch by inch, and their whole thing is to try to run the clock out until they can get a court date and find some sort of court that will reverse it and allow things to stay the status quo where people are coming here willy-nilly and nobody seems to care. All that being said, when I look up here and I see the way that they talk about Biden in most places, they talk about him with quite frankly, with reverence, because they buy into it. They love it. Oh, we'll figure it out. He's a great guy. I've never said he wasn't a great guy. Probably is a fantastic guy. All that being said, I think there's some questions to be asked, and it's not wrong to ask questions, kids. It's absolutely right to ask questions. We're going to discuss that. The media, are they being mean to him? Are they not? Some of the hilarity of the way that they're saying they're being mean to him, according to Politico and the Washington Post, is absolutely hilarious. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. He's not getting fair coverage. They're being really mean to him. I don't think that's true, guys. I'm going to say out there, I don't believe that to be true. Just saying. Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com/Chad. Love giving my dog Rough Greens. Why? Because he eats them and he's better. My mother is reporting that the dog, so she's got a dog with horrific issues with allergies, skin problems, that they've tried everything. So try Rough Greens. In about, what are we going on? A little over a week. She says, crazy, the difference. Vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, all this incredible stuff right there for your dog to take. By what? Sprinkling on top of their food. Makes their dog's food taste better. They love it. So will you. It'll help your dog with its energy. It'll help your dog with in so many ways. If they got joint pain, you watch what happens. With my dog Doodle, that was his big thing. He's got tons of energy, no joint pain. He has no problems with allergies, digestive tracts, any of that stuff, and it's all because of Rough Greens. Try it before you buy it. A free bag come to you. All you have to do, cover the cost of shipping. ruffgreens.com/Chad. ruffgreens.com/Chad. Cover the cost of shipping. You get a bag for free. You can call 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
It's the best. Washington Post opinion piece. The media treats Biden as badly or worse than Trump. Here's proof. Dana Milbank wrote this. So this is Politico's playbook, right? So Politico writes a lot of different things, but they've got, it's all about politics, as you could tell. It's politics. It's a media company that writes about politics. They say they're journalism. Right there next to you, Phil, Arlington County, Virginia. Old Politico there. So they're writing bad stuff about him. Well, let's see. Let's see if there is the headline's bad, but the reality is the headline's right. Dems start to face hard questions. Huh? Let's let the Democrat freak out begin. Again, not about Biden. Does the White House owe Larry Summers an apology? The big intra-Democratic fight all going on. The White House braces for a bad CBO score. Biden dithers. Biden tries to calm the nerves about 2024. The case for why Biden is screwed. Those are some of the headlines. 80% of them didn't even have Biden's name in there. There's more about the Democrats. That's the negative that you get? That's the negative? That's the negative? So they showed, this is what's funny, they show this news coverage of each president. Biden's news coverage absolutely tanked in August. So there's a line, 0, right? The parity line, 0. Negative coverage, positive coverage. Ready for this? Trump never got above a -3. And somehow this is like, Here's one of the headlines. I'm going to read you the date. 10:27 a.m., January 20th, 2017. Inauguration Day. Washington Post. The campaign to impeach President Trump has begun. Don't confuse actual things like, hey, inflation is rising, and people like, that headline hurts Biden. That's just what's happening. That's it. But we live in a world of insanity, and everybody should know that. We live in a world of crap where nobody's interested in actual truth. They're interested in writing their own headlines because headlines sell more than anything else. More than the actual story. Last week, you remember all the smash and grabs? And then the mayor of L.A. comes out and he's like, hey, we caught these 14 people. We put them in jail. We arrested them. But what was if you go down and you find out the real story is all 14 were released with no bail, no bond, nothing. Just they're released. Truth. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about headlines. But headlines are meant to sell. Then go read the article. How many times have you ever read the article? Very few. Very few. And we were talking earlier about the elitism in the world that's out there. Here's something. Same day, The Hill. IRS data proves Trump tax cuts benefited middle-class working Americans the most and breaks it down based on IRS filings. Los Angeles Times. Repeal $1.7 trillion tax cut from Trump. Then negotiate SALT. What's SALT? State and local tax. Who's that benefit the most, my liberal friends? The upper 1%. Negative. Positive. How about truth? What's truth? I read both of them. SALT hurts people in California, New York, mostly liberal cities where upper income earners can't write off stuff, and benefits truly only the upper middle class. Based on data from the IRS, working class Americans benefited greatly from Trump's tax cuts. Will it be that way for the entire time? I don't know. But when you talk about, the negative press is hitting Biden's unfair because it's like they're saying there's big meanies. It's worse than Trump. No, it's not. People are forced to ask some serious questions rather than just Peter Ducey. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Check us out across all the social medias and whatnot. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
So, Christmas time is here, as we all know, not too far away from said holiday. It is the 6th. We are 19 days away, less than 3 weeks to Christmas. You have officially 2 weekends left of Christmas shopping. Prices are still going up. We know that. What is going on? Well, it's the supply chain. There's a lot of things. I'm not blaming everything on this president because that would be foolish and stupid. But the reality is he is missing the point and missing the mark when it comes to this over and over and over and over and over again.
Americans, on average, have more in their pockets today than they did each month since we've been in office than they did last year after accounting for inflation. Let me repeat that. Even after accounting for rising prices, The typical American family has more money in their pockets than they did last year. In fact, we're the only leading economy in the world where household income and the economy as a whole are stronger than they were before the pandemic.
Is that real? Yeah, we might have more money in our pockets. That might be true. But the reality is more money in the pocket doesn't mean more spending. More money in the pockets just means I've got some more cash in the pockets. But when things like inflation are outdoing everything that we're getting when it comes to money, that means our spending isn't as strong. That's an issue. You tell me inflation's up 4%. I look over and see that this time last year I'm paying $2.50 for gas. Now I'm paying $4. I don't know about you, but percentage-wise, that seems a little bit higher than 4%. I live in the middle of godforsaken nowhere. Just going to let you guys know that. I always call it the Valley of the Dirt People on my local show. With the only store we have around within like a 20-minute drive is we have like a Dollar General and we have like a dollar store. I went to our little Dollar General. It's like our mini grocery store. I spent like $80 in there. Not like I got a ton of stuff. And they're saying, don't expect dollar stuff much here anymore. I was talking to the person. Don't expect it. I'm like, whoa. Prices have gone up. Gas prices. How many of us are feeling the pinch?
Prices. Just about every country is grappling with high prices right now as they fight the pandemic. And as the world economy continues to come back to life, the more price pressures are going to ease as things begin to move. But we're not sitting around waiting. I've used every tool available to address price increases, and it's beginning to work. We've seen oil and gas prices out of the wells. Oil and gas prices on the wholesale market come down significantly.
Not totally the truth. And as far as coming down significantly, I'm waiting to feel that. Because it's been anywhere between so where I live, it's $3.79 for a gallon. Where I get off the freeway here in Phoenix, it's $4.09 a gallon. It's been in the $3.70s to $4 range for a while. Coming down, I don't feel it. And I'm in a place that doesn't have high taxes, not like I'm in California. I keep looking for that huge drop he talks about. Tone deaf. Again, tone deaf with what's going on.
Look at what happened in Virginia and some polling that showed that Democrats are losing really badly on economic issues and that a lot of Americans care more about economic issues versus social issues. How do you think the White House can do better?
No, you know what, Sherlock? The American people care about COVID, getting it under control, and they care about the economy. I can tell you that's what they care the most about, anecdotally. What I think we have an opportunity to do now is be quite bold about the choice that people across the country have.
What's that choice? Just curious. Well, unemployment, but there's a but. Well, of course there's a but. Right? There was a but with Trump. Unemployment numbers. We're not creating jobs. We're not hiring people. We've got 10 million jobs that are available. Some of that's from people who've been, they're just not going back to work. Some of it is people are deciding that they're going to do side hustles and they're going to hustle their $3,000-$4,000 a month that they need to live off of. Some of them are starting their own business. Some of them are retiring. People can't find jobs. But there's jobs available. Yeah, but they seem to can't find jobs. Are they really looking for jobs? We've got some issues going on here. And again, it's not all his fault. It's not. But I love the fact that, again, it becomes a blame game rather than finding solutions.
Yes, we recognize prices are up. That's a problem. We recognize we're still fighting the pandemic. Who has a plan to do it? Are you going to be the Republicans who are going to scream it's a problem from a bullhorn? Or are you going to be a Democrat and say, look, we just passed this infrastructure bill. We have a great agenda to run on.
That's all you guys did, because that's what politics has become. Here it is. At the end of the day, Do you feel better today? Take out the pandemic. Right? It's hard to do because the pandemic has played a huge part in this. Don't think that it hasn't. At the end of the day, though, we as Americans, we want to see lower energy prices. We like lower taxes. Want to see a stronger immigration policy and actually a border that is not a sieve. We want to see this thing dealt with, the coronavirus, in a real way. Even if you're a liberal, right, a Democrat, most of those things you probably agree with. But it's hard to argue that looking at this right now, this economy, and you wanted to be the guy, you're a year into it, that this doesn't fall somewhere on your shoulders. That's not being mean. That's just being honest. Period. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. All that being said, we still do have the Omicron virus that's out there. What is it doing? Well, it's making many people in places like New York very happy because de Blasio can go in there again and throw out them big old mandates.
As of today, we're going to announce a first-in-the-nation measure. Our health commissioner will announce a vaccine mandate for private sector employers across the board.
So private sector employers across the board. There's also going to be stuff for kids.
Go get your child vaccinated. So long as they've gotten that first dose by December 14th, they can continue to participate indoor dining, entertainment.
This is where we are right now. As long as they get that, they're good.
One universal standard starting December 27th.
Oh, that's when it kicks in. But what is it? We don't even know about it. No, we don't. We don't know about it. We know nothing about it. We don't know how it spreads. We don't know if the vaccine will work against it, and I use the word vaccine loosely. What we know is it's out there. So far, what we've heard is it really has affected people in a negative way comparatively to some of the other stuff.
I was a little taken back to the fact that I, A, had COVID, and B, it was the new ones. Being vaccinated and having the booster, I have seen the studies and reports that it helps with the symptoms and stuff like that. And also seeing that some of the cases in South Africa were very mild. So I wasn't too concerned. I kind of felt bad for about a day. Luckily, I was on vacation from work and I got 14 hours of sleep. The next day I woke up and I was perfectly fine. So it was very mild for a day.
Panic! We know nothing about it, though. It's going to take a while. Doesn't matter. Because it's a great way to continue to hold on to power. Chad, you're just being a talking point for the right-wing agenda and their media. You're another. No, I'm not. I'm being honest. Wear a mask. Zero problems with that. Wear 2 masks. Wear 5. Wear 10. Whatever you feel that you need to do. Get 1, 2, 3. Go in there. How many can you give me? Again, I have zero problem with it. But shouldn't you also ask a question of hey, maybe before all of this goes down, maybe we take a step back and we say to ourselves, let's see what this thing's about. Remember the UK variant was supposed to be evil. Remember that? And it was just, we don't know. But the way the reaction of the media was about this, and it only takes a little bit of that to see what, yes, the powers that be in certain places are going to grab onto more and more power, which isn't going to help in a situation, especially if you're a Democrat and you're trying to see out this next year and hopefully you see some things turned back to some normality when it comes to inflation and other things, and then maybe you guys have a chance next year. Right now, you think to yourself, we're going to get boat raced. And this thing, and the way that they're reacting, my God, this could put us to a point where we're going to get doubly boat raced. How about before we make a decision on how evil and bad and deadly this thing is, we kind of figure it out? Well, but it could spread. Of course it could. But I like what Rand Paul says here.
But think about this. Fauci now says if you know someone's been vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask next to him. So you see him at one of these glittering Hollywood parties the other day, and it's like, oh, if I don't know the person, I put a mask on if I know them. He doesn't know who's vaccinated or not by looking at them. Here's the bottom line. People who've been vaccinated or people who've gotten the disease naturally do have a semblance of protection and should feel comfortable going about their daily lives. Let's not live in fear. If you've been vaccinated or if you've had the disease, live your life and ignore this man.
Yeah, it's time for a new voice, and he ain't it. He ain't it anymore. And some of the insanity of if you're inside, vaccinated, and wear a mask, and you're back at that point where you're like, I'm sorry, I can't listen anymore. You've been wrong more than you've been right, and you're polarizing too. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Panic! MyPillow wants to make sure that you know that right now, deep discounts on everything, up to 50% off the mattress toppers, the lowest price ever for the MyPillow, 60 money back guarantee, 10-year warranty, zero supply chain issues. At this moment in time, take advantage of incredible deep discounts across the entire selection of the MyPillow products. They've got a cardigan now. They've got the My Slippers, which are awesome. They've got a ton of stuff that you will absolutely love, and at the lowest price ever. Take advantage of it. Go to MyPillow.com. When you do, make sure you use that promo code Benson. That's MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Zero supply chain issues. Products are amazing, made right here in the United States, which is awesome, and deep discounts. Again, 50% off that mattress topper, the best thing that I love their stuff. The stuff is made great, but I will tell you that mattress topper is incredible. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
Apparently, we won't be going to, I guess, the Winter Games. And by that, I mean diplomats. China is going to be mad at us, and I don't even know what to do with that. I don't know how I'll be able to sleep at night. But looks like that we're going to be skipping. So Jill Biden won't be at the opening ceremony, whoever it is we send. We send somebody like Mayor Pete's husband, right? They're like, you like luge, right? You enjoy, was that cross-country skiing? Yeah, well, somebody needs to go to this damn thing. So who shows up at the Olympics? We're going to back out. It's going to piss China off.
China lashed out over reports that the United States is planning a diplomatic boycott of the Beijing Olympic Games in February, threatening to take firm countermeasures if the actions go ahead. Media reports emerged Sunday evening that the Biden administration plans to announce the partial boycott to protest China's human rights record, including the treatment of Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang. It would mean that no U.S. officials would attend the Games, although U.S. athletes would still be allowed to compete.
Oh, no. We do a lot more when it comes to China. We need to push back a little bit harder. It's time. Oh, it's a global economy. Well, maybe we need to bring some stuff back here. Part of that's got to be on us. Are we willing to pay higher prices? By the way, we've got struggling countries south of the border throughout South America. The one thing that China has on us is especially when it comes to some of their tech stuff, is they can produce stuff a little bit faster. But we've got to start asking ourselves, are we willing to bring some of this stuff home if we want it? And the kowtowing to the Chinese government has been sickening across the board. Look, all of us we're hypocritical. We're wearing something that's probably made in China. We didn't know it at the time. We bought it. We get home. We open the package. Oh, it's made in China. It's frustrating. It truly is. But, is this enough? I mean, we're going to really boycott anymore. Is anybody boycotting the Olympics? It's the Winter Olympics, too. Nobody pays attention. There's like 8 countries that do the Winter Olympics, right? There's us, of most of the European countries, but the reality is it's the Northern European, it's the Scandinavian countries, some of the former Soviet countries, They participate. There's not a lot else going on. Like the whole world participates in the summer games. As if anybody watches that crap show from last year. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Oh, I think a lot of people did. It was this year, Chad. I forgot it. It was this year. That's how awesome it was. It was this year that we had that sweet Olympics where nobody was there.
Parents are scrambling to find high-demand gifts like gaming consoles. Supply chain issues created an extra challenge, along with bots or automatic programs scanning the internet and scooping up those items, then reselling them at inflated prices. Michael Kahn is a tech reporter for PC Mag and suggests getting alerts from the legit companies on social media.
You basically want to follow these accounts who specialize in tracking PlayStation restocks, Xbox restocks. You follow them on Twitter.
Michelle Franz.
Let me tell you something. Good luck. I got buddies here who they go up against bots every day when it comes to like cards, baseball cards, Pokemon and stuff. He gets them, he resells them as well. And he makes no money on it, but it's fun for him. It's fun. He goes, dude, those bots kick my ass. I mean, some of those bots are so incredible. I'm like, yeah, it's been that. What's bots got around? Remember, bots and computer programs came in for concert tickets a long time ago and changed it so they were buying big blocks of tickets. You have to rebuy tickets. Now they're doing it just for alerts for toys. Good luck for that, parents. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Finally arrested the parents over the weekend of Ethan Crumbley, the shooter in Michigan. Parents were caught. A friend, they don't think he's going to be charged with anything, and I don't know what kind of friend he was, but he told him he could stay at the place they have. I don't know if it was like an art place or if it was just, the way they looked at it was like an industrial area, but they are arrested, and rightly so. I mean, these guys, this is an awful parenting, but awful schooling. The Oakland County prosecutor, Karen McDonald, has not ruled out charging school officials. So here was a kid who was troubled, who had written things, who teachers had raised some awareness, who had been to the counselor, I think, 2 or 3 times, but in a 24-hour period was at the counselor's office, and then the next day both the parents and him were in the office. They are culpable in some way, shape, or form. They're going to have to pay out a ton of money. The gun issue, he's not old enough to own a gun in that state like that. Apparently it was in dad's name. It was stolen. He called 911 30 minutes after the shooting. His mother had sent him a text that says, don't do it. They were in the room earlier in the day, and essentially, knowing what they have known, he was searching for ammo. He had posted more than just cryptic messages on some social media. Owning a gun, shooting a gun is not illegal. But they'd also got him with drawings that showed him shooting other students, talking about how the world hates him and how he needed help, amongst other things. And they failed. Hey, here, let's go and look at the other side of things. Last week, was it Friday? Kid arrested, Parkland. His mom said he was joking. says he feels like a school shooting tomorrow. When he sneezes, make sure you get out of class. Don't none of y'all be snitches. Parkland, where, of course, Marjorie Stoneman, the shooting, Nicholas Cruz, going back a few years on that Valentine's Day, what did they do? Kid was arrested immediately, suspended from school, will probably be expelled. He's in juvenile detention. This, none of that happened. None of that happened. And here we are. Mom and dad are awful. There's no doubt about that in the way that they handled this. This kid was in a lot of pain. And like so many of these idiots, some of these horrible, horrible kids and that go through this, they decide to do what? Let's take my pain out on the world.
They're going to try to say that they had no idea this type of event would happen. But the prosecution has the fact that he is literally crying for help. They should have known that he needed some assistance.
Yeah. They should have, but they didn't. They should have, but they didn't. It's not hard looking at all of these things to say to yourself, yeah, that looks like a true issue here. These things that he's saying, these things that he's been writing, that feels like a cry for help. From 2000 to 2013, the FBI looked at 63 different shootings in schools across the country. And you know what they found? Red flags. Now, sometimes we may overstep. I think we realize that. But the reality is this right here screamed. It wasn't like they took him out of school and he got mad one day when mom and dad were at work and he took the gun and he went back to school. They released him back into school the same day that they were worried about it. He had the gun in his backpack. And they said, well, there was nothing inside of his files. This is this is going to go on for a while, and the amount of money that the school's going to have to pay out, that's on a you. That is a you thing. You knew. Other students talked about it. Some kids weren't even going to school because of it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Over the weekend, big news broke. Not shocking.
CNN breaking news.
Chris Cuomo, we should point out, has now been terminated here at CNN. That's the latest breaking news. Earlier this week, Cuomo was suspended from CNN after documents revealed he had been involved more than previously known in shaping his brother, former Governor Andrew Cuomo's defense. And I want to go to CNN's Brian Stelter.
Yes, Chris Cuomo, one of the most popular anchors at CNN, violated journalistic ethics and norms, not once or twice, but many times.
Not once or twice, but many times. Yes, he had a lot of issues. And he readily admitted this. By the way, this is as much CNN's fault as it is anybody else's fault. Listen to what he says here.
Obviously, I love you as a brother. Obviously, I'll never be objective.
I don't know what else there is to say. CNN should have told him you could never have him on the show. Ever. You never have him on the show. Period. Any investigation that's going to happen, anything that is going to be positive or negative, will be coming from the other host. If it was really that much of a situation, that's what they should have done. But they like the fact that Cuomo would come on every night because he was a text message away from his brother, and at a time when there was Cuomo-sexuals, and people love them. The fact that he was just a text message away of going on any of these talking heads. Hey, could you go on Brianna's show? Could you come on with Don? Can you come on with me? And he was everybody's, going to be the king of all, right? The Democrats loved him. And quite frankly, based on all of the stuff you were seeing, at least he was trying to do something that we found out later on was a bunch of BS, right? We find out later was a bunch of crap. They're talking about him being, hey, he could take over for Biden. Maybe he could run against Biden, not in the primaries, but try to go there and challenge him on the floor at the convention. He got an Emmy. Last week, remember when Cuomo came on his radio show. The real thing is people don't like my brother, especially the media. It's a bunch of crap. They loved him. This is Attorney Zerwick talking about the press and the media.
CNN has lost trust. I think this really goes to the heart. And Sarah's right. These relationships are out there. People know about them. And it is one of the things that makes people, they don't trust the press because they think it's elites dealing with elites, taking care of elites. We say we're watchdogs, but we watch some people harder than we watch other people. There are friends, there are relationships, there are people trying to court favor with powerful people for information.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely. Elites watching out after elites. That's what it is. It's one of the reasons I won't have politicians on my show unless they're retired politicians and are willing to speak their mind, is because politicians nowadays, they're more worried about, hey, what's the press going to be like? What happens if we get answered a question that, friendly, not friendly? But most importantly is if you become a friend of one of these people, going after them if they've done something wrong is tremendously hard. So most people befriend these people, especially on the left side of the aisle. Makes it easier, right? Where is it? Manhattan, D.C., Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Seattle. You've got those elite areas with powerful politicians and great ties with inside of those politicians to the media, and they turn a blind eye. Fox has theirs, but that's pretty much about it. Newsmax, One American News, it's really Fox. Even Tucker, right? You look at Tucker. The revelations, did Tucker ask Hunter Biden to write his kid a letter to help him get into college? What? Yeah. You start looking around and going, they all have some sort of friendship, something of that nation. And it makes you, it's crazy. But Cuomo came out and said it.
Obviously, I love you as a brother. Obviously, I'll never be objective.
I don't know what else people want. That's what people feel about the media. Now, they say there's some other new sexual allegations and stuff like that. Are they using that? They've come out and said that's a bunch of crap. They're using that to get rid of me. But, here's the reality of it. Did anybody really think that he was going to be objective in covering his brother? No. Did they think he was going to help his brother if he had a chance? Any right-minded human being would. But it's the way that they protect each other, right? It's the game that they play. We're all tight. We all get together. The powers that be. We push back. Here's one last week. People don't realize how close George Clooney and George Stephanopoulos are. Even talking about the insanity, he goes to Stephanopoulos because he knows Stephanopoulos is really not going to ask him anything too dangerous.
No. I feel that there is, I feel that someone is responsible for what happened, and I can't say who that is, but I know it's not me.
Oh, it's not you. I still find that incredible. And by the way, he's kind of blaming her. He's like, well, she told me to stand here.
If I felt that I was responsible, I might have killed myself if I thought I was responsible. I don't say that lightly. I'm not somebody who has a lot of vivid dreams, but I have dreams about this constantly now. I wake up constantly where guns are going off. These images have come into my mind and kept me awake at night, and I haven't slept for weeks, and I've really been struggling physically. I'm exhausted from this because I got to try to be there for my kids. And my family's all I have. I mean, honest to God, I couldn't get of my career anymore.
So you're a victim? Absolutely. Magic bullet. Didn't pull the trigger. She told me where to stand. It's all her fault and the magic bullet's fault. Oh, yeah, that's sad. You are a victim. Again, the media elites hang out with each other. I wish I had friends that were media elites. I got none of that. I got producer Phil and producer Anthony. None of us are media elites. Right? We're not. I'm in shorts and a T-shirt. That's basically our eliteness right there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. And you wonder why people don't trust the media. You wonder why. Because there's a reason for it. And look, I understand it. I do. I get it. It's a business. Even now, was an article the other day talking about how fair can the media and the networks be on Biden's Build Back Better plan when they stand to get a ton of free money for it? Are you going to criticize something that you get a bunch of free money for? Probably not. Again, media, business, money, all rolls together. Maybe we need to learn to play different. I don't know. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
The Laughing Fox named the top video on TikTok's Powered by Joy list with nearly 20 million views. Aiming to change the way the medical field treats black patients is med student Joel Burvell, landing a top spot on Voices of Change. And Noodle the Pug and creator John Graz.
And welcome back to yet another round of No Bones, the game where we find out if my 13-year-old pug woke up with bones.
Making the list as one of the big breakthrough stars of the year.
Yep. And that's where we are now, kids. No Bones, the dog, his pug. It's huge. You know, it's like you want to talk about the media. The thing that's changed the media the most in the last, and if I'm the news world, I'm worried about is what you can do on certain platforms. Certain platforms are exploding and opportunities are abound. I watched something the other day. You know, it's like my little daughter, she watches this little girl. The amount of, I couldn't even tell you how many views this little girl has. But then I watched, like, when it comes to my world, like Breaking Points. They're up to like 700,000 subscribers like that. They get millions of views on a daily basis. They're the best and most reliable news sources I find out there because you have a take from both sides of it, but they give you the news first and they give you some opinion on stuff, and away they go. And they're not afraid to go after their own side, if you will. I think it's brilliant. The amount of views that they get is tremendous comparatively to the likes of you know, like CNN. Even Tucker. I mean, Tucker dominates everybody, but he's got 3.5 million if he's lucky. Probably 3. So, yeah, that's huge. I mean, why would you want to? Like Mr. Beast. If you guys have no idea who Mr. Beast is, Mr. Beast is this guy who, he is just this YouTuber who is a super businessman. He's 23, James Stephen Donaldson. Mr. Beast, he does crazy stuff, gives away a ton of stuff. He's got 21 billion views, 82 million subscribers on his main channel, 153 million subscribers elsewhere. I was watching him yesterday. He doesn't need, like, if you came today and you're NBC, what are you going to do for this guy? Nothing. You're not going to do anything for this guy that he can't do for himself. And you know what he has? He has control. He's willing to take that risk and have control. A lot of people aren't. But there's also no narrative that he needs to fit in some ways. When it comes to politics, a little bit different. But here's something with politics. You always hear the right and the left battling over this, that, and the other. When you want to look at stuff, here's something. There's a media bunker, as they talk about in Axios, being built by the right. If you don't think that's true, think about this. Daily Wire. Last year, 25,000 downloads a month. Now 84,000. Blaze TV, 51K, doubled. Parler, 10K a month compared to 1. Newsmax, 19K a month, 120K a month download. Rumble, 0 to 150. They're building their own, but on top of that, they've also got backing behind lots of people who are corporate billionaires who want to push back against cancel culture, censorship, and also see the opportunity here of an underserved market comparatively to the mainstream media and the establishment media. Smart. Smart. You get out there, and if you could do it yourself and you've got something, you would be surprised at what you can do. Takes a while, and nobody's really sure what that thing is that some companies do or some people do. But when it works, it's the control. And that's why media pushes back hard against the Rogans and everybody else, because you know why? They don't have that kind of control over somebody like him. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Have a great rest of your day. We got you through this Monday, and we'll probably get you through Tuesday, because that's who we are and what we do. You have a great rest of your day. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.